welcome to Fake Deep Thinking, just a group of guys talking about a bunch of bullshit. Today we have with us John.
What's up?
Doc.
Yo.
And myself, Eugene. All right, guys, we're going to start off the podcast doing some shout-outs to praise for Hadiyah Green, the first person who could cure cancer using laser technology.
Whoop-dee.
This is actually kind of cool. I came across this. So this article mainly talked about her background. But she actually developed these nanoparticles that are activated by lasers, and she's able to actually target the specific cancer cells and only target the cancer cells. And she was successful in her trials on mice. So that's actually pretty freaking cool.
Wow, she lost her aunt to cancer.
Yeah, she talked about the chemo, how, where is it right here? While tending to her Uncle Green, watching him suffer from the side effects of chemotherapy and radiation, which to her seemed a little better than what her aunt went through. So she had firsthand experience of, like, how tough chemo can be. We have a friend, too, whose father went through it and how tough it was for him. Like, he ended up making his own special, like, device to help fight it because he just did not like the chemotherapy. So this is honestly cool. This gives hope that we're finally going to have a cure for cancer in, I don't want to say the near future, but the future. Maybe within our generation, our lifetime, I should say.
Wow.
So let me ask you this, though. What do you think is scarier? The synthetic mRNA technology or straight up nanotechnology going into your body?
Can I say
Nano.
both?
Nano.
I mean,
Like scarier for the person that's in their body, or
I think that
Yeah,
like
I mean,
for
you're gonna have to
society.
accept this into your body.
I
Like,
think the mRNA
and
I think the mRNA is scarier because it can potentially actually manipulate your actual DNA. Well, maybe depending on how you use it. And then the nanotechnology, yeah, it goes in your body. It's scary, but I feel like it's
I feel like the
limited.
No, I
but
feel like it's limitless.
you think it's limitless?
Yeah,
I
because
feel like the mRNA thing
I
is
feel like
limitless. See, I see that with mRNA though.
No. But you're talking about the process of it. So you're talking about like what they can eventually do with mRNA. I'm talking about I can put a nanobite in your body right now, and 20 years develop something that can latently still affect your nanobite. I can come up with a new program 15 years from now and activate some shit in your body. That to me is scarier because whatever they edit in your body, if it's fucked up, it's fucked up. Don't go back, right? Like as fucked up as it is, if you grow a third arm, now, right? They're gonna have to literally catch you and do all this extra shit to make you to edit your body.
So the mRNA kind of thing is just a one-time deal, up to you. But you think the nanoparticles, it's like
They can just keep
it's in
changing
you
shit.
now. It's in you.
That's it.
it's kind of trippy because the
I feel
mRNA
like it's kind
thing,
of the same
like,
thing a little bit though. I get the update thing, but I feel like it's kind of the same thing. Like
they're
once the
different.
mRNA thing
So
happens,
like,
it's it. It's
Like
changed.
for
It's it.
example, if the mRNA turns you to a half dog, half man,
Oh gosh, no.
right? It's horrible,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But then what if every year, what I'm saying is every year the nanobite comes up with some new crazy shit to fuck you up. Okay, now it's a bomb. Okay,
Okay.
now it's a this. Now it's a this.
That requires
now,
an actual update because you got
now,
to change the nanoparticle
now they can
stuff, I'm assuming.
electrocute you, or now that the nanobite can find its way to your heart and attach itself to your heart.
Okay.
Now it can attach itself to your spinal
A kill
cord.
switch, a constant,
kill switch.
knowable kill switch.
What if they learn how to affect send certain impulses to the brain to affect movement? Now you're forcing me physically
see
to
that.
do things.
Okay. Okay. What
I
are you
just
well,
saying,
think
that's
Doc?
the thing. Like for the mRNA, I think it's a wild card. Like you're putting a wild card in you, and you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen.
Joker.
But this one, it's like we know it can destroy tissue because that's what she did. So
Okay.
who's got their finger on the button?
That's my problem. There's still another man involved after.
Yeah, that mRNA, you're just like, all right, that shit went wild. It's what it is. But this
Woof.
one, someone still got their finger on the button.
Nigga, what you
Maybe
got
if I
coming
had
for the new
cancer, I'd be
iOS?
like, yeah.
Yeah, coming for the
You're
new
gonna
iOS.
update.
Get updated on the nanobites. Yeah, we're coming in for your weekly checkup or your nano checkup.
What do you mean I got banned?
Then
Those
it's
things
gonna
are in me.
Dude, like that's gonna be a whole different specialist of a doctor.
I guess, all right. Now you put it in that way, that is kind of terrifying.
It's horrible. Like from the mRNA
But
thing.
part of me still feels like it's kind of similar.
The worst
though.
thing to me that happens is zombie apocalypse.
That could happen with the mRNA thing too.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay. Oh, that's what you're saying.
The cap on
And
that is
that-
zombie apocalypse. The
There's a-
cap on this nano thing, boy, iRobot. Like, well, it's a lot that can happen with it. Now there's just so much control. And then it literally they don't even have to create the technology for it. They can put the nanobites and just tell you we can do it. The fear from that alone. And then we don't even know if it can react with your devices in your phone. The devices around you.
You could be hacked.
Like, that's like, dude, are we in what anime was it?
Ghost in the Shell?
Ghost
I was thinking Ghost in the Shell, yeah.
Ghost in the Shell.
Yep.
Ghost in the Shell, dog.
I don't know. Still,
I mean,
like,
you could get there. Honestly, though, if I had cancer, though, I'd probably let them do it.
I'll
'cause
for
I'd be
sure
like,
let
I
them
don't
do
know.
it. I'll be like, hey,
Yeah.
if y'all control me, just give me power.
I would ask if you can take him out. I would ask that. Like, is
You
there?
gonna find all of them? Nano?
I would find a way. Like, is there? How do we get these things out? And
Nano?
depending how small they are, do I got to do a quick run through some kind of like for example, at security check for airport, like that radio
Honestly
scan? Do I got to
speaking-
go through one of those and boom, they're all suddenly deactivated or something? Like, I'm okay with that, having dead ones just like roaming rather than live ones. I prefer dead ones.
Honestly
What if-
speaking,
what if
she
you
just
come back
cured
in
way more
from-
than cancer.
Say that again.
Honestly speaking, she just cured way more than cancer. Like, the
Yeah, I mean,
process,
cancer's
what
just
it's
like the
doing,
starting point.
Oh,
that's way more than cancer. Like, what it's capable of doing. If she's able to specify what it targets, that is literally way
she
more
cured
than
a lot more than cancer. I
Yeah, that's
understand
what I'm
you're
saying. Like,
I understand
that's
what you're saying.
big,
Yeah.
big. Ooh.
Well, let me ask you this: how would you feel if, like, you came in for like your second and third checkup, and the doctor was like, "Yeah, we tried to get them all out after you asked, and we just can't." They started thinking for themselves, and so
Hell
they're
no.
around you.
I'd start talking to them straight up. I'll go crazy then. I'll start talking to them. If they got a mind of their own inside me, we gotta know each other. We gotta like each other because you have too much control over me. My body's your life too. Like, we gotta make this work, right?
I still don't. This is so, man.
That's terrifying, actually.
I
I
still
read
don't even
a-
understand the body completely. I'm gonna say the dumbest shit. I don't understand how blind people can dream with vision. Nigga, you can see in your dream, in your sleep. How do you know what seeing is?
Well, are these people who
People
were
born blind.
born blind? I was
can
about to say,
s-
were they
they
born
have
blind or they
dreams.
become blind afterwards? Because if they became blind afterwards, I mean, that would make sense. They'd
Yeah.
be able to see. They have those
People
memories.
born
but-
blind have dreams. Yes,
and they say they actually
they see in their dreams.
I would question what they see still, though. I honestly, is that fucked up to say?
I don't think it is. It just depends on like what they conceptualize.
Exactly.
Like,
That's why.
What can
But
they? What can
why?
they piece together? Like,
Why?
want you to-
Why when I close my eyes,
I
right?
don't think I can say it's
if
gonna
I
sound
speak-
right now because it's like, how do I?
No,
get
no,
this
no, no, no. I understand what you're saying, but why, when I close my eyes, right, can I think of Morgan Freeman and his face with the hoop earring pop up in my head? My eyes are closed, but I'm looking at Morgan Freeman right now. What is that?
What do you mean? You've seen Morgan Freeman? What do
But
you-
what
I
is
think
that?
it's just your brain combining images and words and stuff.
Why can I see it? Is my question. Why can I see it?
you
My eyes are closed. Where am I seeing? What am I seeing it with?
your memory?
In your mind?
How? On what?
I comes down to
That whole
understanding
thing
bro.
baffles me.
how that works. I don't
That's
understand that
a-
personally.
So
There's probably
I'm
an
just-
explanation for it.
I'm sure there is. And then we have nanobots. So that's what I'm saying.
we have nanobots.
All this shit that's too sophisticated for me to understand, I'm good on it. That type of stuff
There's
terrifies me.
A Michael Crichton book I read where they use nanobots. Like they go to a lab where they first create them, and then they create like a batch of them, and the batch becomes self-aware, and all the little nanobots start thinking in one group, and then it's able to turn into a cloud, and then morph into a person, and then morph back into a cloud, and then like
That's
animals
not
and
it,
stuff like
Gene.
that. And they try to shoot it, and like holes just go through it and stuff like that.
You wanna
Where do we
answer
get
that?
there?
Dude, I don't want to see none of this. I'm glad I was born when I was born. I'm going to see the beginning of a lot of this shit. I'm going to be an old grumpy man saying, I'm telling you. And when I die, they're going to be like, he told us.
What about your daughter?
Hey, man, I told her. I told her. Why? We're Googling, Gene's Googling right now, why can't we see when our eyes are closed? Like,
I was
what?
just curious because I want to explain.
Exactly. No, you're not wrong. I'm right here with you, brother. It's just like, why? Does the body work like that? What type of wicked twist of fate is that you're blind? And like, so people, right, who are born blind and have these dreams, they wake up with the most stress
I bet.
because they have to remind themselves they're blind.
That
What?
sucks, actually. Are these like stories or something? Like you watch a documentary or something?
Yeah, I did.
A
Not
documentary?
documentary. I was just watching YouTube and stumbled across a whole bunch.
Went down a hole, huh?
Went down the hole, yeah.
It happens, man.
Like those people are stressed out. They have like, it's like, dude, can you imagine you're in a field, you're feeling grass, you're seeing titties, and you wake up, it's 12 o'clock noon, but it's pitch black because you're blind. Sheesh.
I know it's for some people it's a very real reality, but it's just that for some reason it was funny to me.
I'm only laughing because Doc is laughing.
All right, I think that's a good point to change subjects. Let's talk about something intense a little bit. Or not really intense, but so Doc brought up a question to us. Does America have a corporate identity crisis? And I actually didn't really understand what you meant by this, Doc. Like, what do you mean? Like, does America have a corporate identity crisis?
Yeah, so kind of what I was thinking is just like I've been watching the news and people react to everything that's going on in the States right now. And so you have corporations silencing a world leader, and you have people making a ton of money off of corporations, individual platforms, and then you have people trying to get people away from those platforms. You even have people running away from the platforms because they're scared of them. And like I remember on CNN right now, I was watching
Platforms
some
losing their web hosting service,
yeah,
like all that.
like
Yeah,
Parlor just being able to disappear overnight. People possibly silencing like forms of thought. If you if I can't remember the guy's name, but if you watch CNN recently, they had some guy on who was like basically saying that podcasters are creating radicalists because they're spreading misinformation, when it's really ironic because people right now distrust mainstream media because it's so confusing and it's so polarized. So they're going to independent creators,
yep.
and it's actually profitable. And
Yeah, look at
the
Tim
crazy
Pool.
thing
He's
about
blown up so much this year.
yeah, yeah,
I remember
yeah.
watching him
So
when he
they,
was
I
at like
mean,
200 to 400,000 subscribers. Now he's at what, over 1 million now?
and some of
He
those
gets
guys
more
actually
views than
get
CNN.
more. Exactly. Yeah, that's a big deal too. And I think like corporations are kind of scared of that. But at the same time, like America has this like rejection for it. So that's why I think it's in a weird state where we don't know what the hell to do with it. Like we
The
don't want to
old
be
guard,
monitored, but we also want to use it to make money.
the old guard doesn't like anything that, like, this is the first
The old
generation.
guard. Oh my gosh.
This is the first generation where the youth actually has, not the first one, but like we're like part of the first generations where the youth is actually can question not even just the the thought process behind what the older generations were doing, but their establishments, their there's almost
Younger
like
and younger people are starting to question the establishment more and more.
and
Is that what you're saying?
yeah, and so like for example, in my mind, the way I see it is like, okay, a building, right? If you see the establishment as a building, I can only control you or try and change your mind or anything like that if you enter the building. But now we have a bunch of people that are just not entering the building at all. And so it's not that the building affected everybody. A lot of people walked through the building and saw bullshit and kept it pushing. You know what I'm saying? But they still needed the chance. They needed to be able to coerce some people going to the building. Now that everybody's going to like Tim Pools and all these independent media sources, they're not going to the building. The old guard is scared that they won't. That was their way of control. That was their way of like, if I'm just not listening to you, like for example, if you're abusive to me verbally and it affects me, and then one day I just stop listening to you, like it just doesn't bother me because I don't value your opinion anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The power is gone from you.
I think the answer is actually a lot simpler, and it goes to what you say all the time about Americans. I think it's just money. I think mainstream media is starting to realize their industry is dying, and these independent sources are starting to take their viewers, arguably, and these journalists, these hosts, are seeing, I would argue, not a job in their future unless they can themselves get their own podcast, and some have done that already.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's her name? I don't know what.
The divisive girl.
Nah, the blonde lady, Megan Kelly.
Okay.
I think that's her. Let me double check real quick. Yes, her. She has her own podcast now.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, though.
It's just changing it up, It's just the market is changing, so you have these.
But why is the market changing? This is the first time
And
the
it goes
market
to,
is changing.
It goes
like
what you and
this,
Doc were
though.
saying, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, but it's because of obviously technology, the internet, blah blah blah.
That's a factor, yeah.
But now that we're challenging their establishment, that's why like all these old guys when they're on TV,
Mm-hmm.
it's an apparent disconnect. This was the most disconnected we've ever been from the two people running.
Mm. Yeah.
As in, like, we just don't think any of them are even cool.
Mm-hmm.
Just as simple as that. We don't think any of those guys, presidents, can't really be cool anymore now. Like, that's over. Because as long as you keep hiring people who are 70 years old and all that, it's just not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, why do I have to listen to this guy? The stuff that the younger generations value is a lot differently. It's a lot different. So, for example, you may have Cardi B fans listening to her political views, even though it makes no sense, right? Because they view Cardi B as somebody who's cool or somebody who's similar in
Relatable.
thinking. Relatable. There you go. So her political opinion shouldn't be too far off if they're lazy thinkers. Okay, just bear with me, right? Now, why the fuck would I listen to Joe Biden? What does he do for me? He ain't hot. I ain't never seen him wear no Balenciagas. I ain't never seen Joe bag no bitches. I ain't never seen Joe with no Rolex. I ain't never seen Joe do anything that I value. I ain't never seen Joe bust no real dance moves. I ain't never seen Joe crack no real joke. I ain't never seen Joe has never done at me as I'm talking has never done anything I would deem as cool or entertaining or interesting, other than I guess politically, if you take politics out of it. Just Joe himself. They're not interested. There's no appeal behind fucking Joe. There's appeal behind Cardi B. She shake that ass. She dropped hit records. And now our generation was like, okay, cool. We're not stuck under your trends. What do I value about you, Bill O'Reilly? The fuck I'm listening to this dude for? And then we grow up walking in the crib, watching our parents watch that shit, and be like, oh, fuck these guys. I'm finna go upstairs. Oh, they turning the news on again. I'm finna go upstairs. I just want to watch cartoons. I just want to watch this. So we've been dodging them our whole life. And then we get older and find out these motherfuckers are actually crazy. Man, fuck those guys. I'm going to listen to Tim Pool. I'm going to listen to Joe Rogan. I'm going to listen to people who took their time out. People who I feel took their time out to go and try and find out as much of the truth as they independently could have. And just hear them talk to me like I'm a regular person.
Yeah, because I watch Tim Pool, and the reason why I appreciate Tim Pool is because I like his actual podcast. I appreciate his actual videos he does on the political news. But what I appreciate is the people he brings on to talk about the stuff. Like, he actually does his best to bring on like progressive leftist side thinking people, and those are insightful discussions that they have. So obviously, there's some heated, back and forth, but at the end of the day, it's actually bringing the discussion to the forefront, which is where it needs to be. And I think the conversations are constructive, even if there are disagreements. At least we're having a little more of an understanding of where we agree and where we disagree, and hopefully, by finally having these discussions, we can progress, move forward, heal, unify like we all want.
So to answer your question, then, Doc, I wouldn't label it an identity crisis. I would label America having identity crisis. So
Okay.
the corporations are having to pivot. because they're
Mm.
all reactionary. It's not based off their own anything. They actually have to follow what we do. And so it's like when they say like let's say talk about rap music. When they say, "Oh, if you stop buying music or purchasing music about guns and stuff like that, we'll stop making the music about guns and stuff like that." You know what I'm saying? So it's like we actually just stopped caring about one thing
Vote
and
with your dollar
pivoted.
kind of thing.
Yeah, and so we just stopped caring about one thing and pivoted, and they just couldn't keep our attention. So they're literally having to go from whatever's in our periphery and run to whatever we're looking at just to try and capitalize off of it. And now we're understanding now, and this is what's really cool about independent platforms. The pivot has allowed space for the independent creators to rise to a certain level where it's a partnership if the corporations want to work with them. So they have to present something mutually beneficial. It can't just be necessarily money all the time, because a lot of these independent creators now you're reaching out to them because they've reached a certain level. There's no money you can offer Tim. I mean, obviously there is a dollar per amount, but there's really no realistic amount of money that you could offer Tim to just have him lie on his podcast and just sell himself short of everything he's done. So anything
Well,
you do, you has to pair off and be respectful of his wishes on his podcast. Whereas if he didn't have that foundational piece before, his fan base, which being that piece he already has, you're trying to bleach off my fan base. I don't need you for that. You do what I say now. And so all the contracts are even different.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because one thing that I've been kind of noticing is that right now, like, people are, I don't know if it's just because of the pandemic, or maybe it's just like the particular like media that I'm consuming and stuff like that. People to me seem to be garnering clout as the most valuable currency
It
within the
is.
country. Because as soon as you garner clout and have enough of it, the corporation will bend the knee to you to cater to you, like Joe Rogan and stuff like that. And honestly, Trump is a byproduct of that. Like, Trump garnered enough clout that he was able to bend the entire government system to him, and he was able to kind of go through the entire process of governing the country with it. Like, especially now too, after the whole Capitol thing, um, you start to see the Republicans that really weren't for him start to like drop him and stuff like that, because the clout has changed and completely different. And also the big thing too is that we're actually noticing this is one of the first times that corporations are pushing back. This is the first time. Normally, the corporations bend the knee to you, and they're just like, "Yeah, man, whatever you want to do, we'll host your show. We just want the money that you're gonna bring us from your
Mm-hmm.
following." But this is the first time where the corporations were like, "No,
You know what?
we're
To
done."
what you're saying, we're gonna take off one of our topics, and there's gonna be a subtopic to this. So IG did an adult content purge, and they took out basically anybody who had violated a certain number of their rules and guidelines, even if it wasn't recently. They went and purged a lot of people. So you have a lot of content creators who what you're talking about is quantifiable clout, right? That was the quantifiable clout was their IG. And so to what he's saying, the corporations are pushing back and stuff now because they understand now that they literally either have to control the creation of the content creators. So if I have an IG, right, with 1 million followers off of singing, no, off of, I was an athlete, okay? I now have 1 million people who I can sell anything to, correct? So if any corporation wants to sell anything or promote anything, they have to pay me to post it on my Instagram. Simple enough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But now let's say I create an OnlyFans. I won't get 1 million people following me. Let's say 5% follow me. Right? That's a lot of money. Not only do I do an OnlyFans, let's say I start selling candles. Let's start selling this. Let's say I start selling that. There are so many revenue sources you can make off of the almost stacking of clout that is the thing that you need to get. So corporations understanding that the clout is more important than the dollar right now, because the clout actually lasts longer, are pushing back on what they think will get them the most clout. We've turned corporations into clout chasers.
That's interesting.
No, that's true. And we, to police ourselves, have created cancel culture
Mm-hmm.
to get rid
The
of that
clout
clout.
police.
Yeah.
Whew. Jesus, I ain't gonna lie. I think we just, I think we just did a thing. I ain't gonna cap. No bet.
Yeah. I I think moving forward, we'll continue to chase clout and try to generate income off of it, but I think corporations are going to be a lot stricter.
Yep.
I think, especially since people are like, "Well, how come you're not consistent in your rules?" And how come Trump is? What are you going to do this for corporate leaders? I think the way you were mentioning earlier that corporations are reactionary, I think they're going to stop being reactionary. Especially the fact that they just watched a world leader, whether it was advertent or inadvertent, he triggered a coup attempt within a country, within their own country, and I think that's why they're just like, no, we're going to stop being reactionary because we reacted to that and that ended up happening. Or if we had been proactive, that might not have happened, and I think that's where we're going with them.
Man, I just think it's unfair to call it a coup attempt, honestly.
What was their goal?
There,
No, I'm
there
asking
wasn't. It was just
exactly
they
there
were just
wasn't.
riled.
Exactly. So that's why I think it's unfair to call it a coup attempt. Sure, you could argue some in there, like we said last podcast, the guy with the
Loaded gun.
with the, no, well, some, yeah, but I'm talking about the guy with the zip ties. Like, obviously, some had ill intent, but that wasn't the full motivation of the entire movement. Just because a very small few were fucking idiots.
You know what's so fucking ironic about this shit, dog?
No, it's all
It's all fucking ironic,
it
dog.
is. It really
I'm
is.
literally hearing what people were saying about Black Lives
Yes,
Matter.
exactly.
Yeah,
right now.
it's exactly the same
Exactly.
thing. It's
It's
just the
so
opposite. end.
Exactly.
fucking wild. It's so fucking wild. And then it's crazy because right now, if I were a person who were really pro Black Lives Matter, the movement, and I guess not educated on the nuances of everything that's going on, I could look at Gene or any, not even to specify Gene. Sorry, I didn't mean to specify you, but
Nah, go
you
for
know,
it.
no, just because you were defending not defending the point, but just saying it wasn't a coup, or like I could look at them and say, all y'all did was say looting and rioting, and immediately end any possible progressive conversation we could have.
Yeah, I think Gene hit a point last time where he
There's, like,
said
no
that
empathy.
the radicals in the pro-Trump group and the radicals in BLM are literally the same people. They're just different sides of the fence, and they're like
the
their
same
own group.
person. Yeah,
Yeah, they're the same person.
they're the same person.
That's why I made a point last episode, just saying that, like, I just want to I guess hash out the same topic pretty much, but just it's unfortunate now that we have both these extremes, and now we have to find a way to deal with these extremes. I guess it's just
But
annoying.
what
that
birthed these extremes is a good question.
That is a good question.
A lot of it, I think, people. So I'll start where I think it began, which was during my dad's maybe generation and growing up. Because I remember growing up, him always complaining how, specifically the rhinos, how they just weren't. They were too passive. They always, like the typical term, they just bend over all the time. They bend the knee. They just take it. Like they weren't really. They didn't fight for their values, or as my dad would say, like conservative Republican values.
Mhm.
And then so that was just a fetching thing, blah blah blah. But nothing really was. I mean, I want to say nothing really bad was really happening that made this trigger, but it was building and building until obviously the straw that broke the camel's back happened in 2016 when Trump won.
Okay.
And I guess that's when people feel like, wow, if this guy can actually be president, maybe it's not as corrupt. I've heard that sentiment before.
I'll say it began.
It seemed impossible that Trump was able to win.
I'll say, I think it began under Obama.
When
the media started, when the media showed or highlighted, I don't want to say focused would be the better word, on the racist antics towards Obama. I think there was the media used, when Obama ran, the media used the
so you
fact
think that
he
was the start of it all?
I think that was the real start of it all, because
Well, I was thinking what build up to the point where what finally.
Because you said 2016, but I'm talking about before that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm agreeing with you. Like that's one of the triggers. But I think the way the media used Obama, and it's not even him during the presidency, the run when he was going for president,
Yeah.
they made it a real divisive time by what they chose to cover and how they chose to cover it.
Mm.
And so I think you knock 5 people off here, 5 people off here, and certain things happen. 5 people off here, 5 people off here. Now that's 10, and people just kept falling off to the extreme side till enough gathered, I guess, to unify and become actual organizations. But like I think that was the beginning because the thing we don't care about religion anymore. Why? Why are we not fighting about religion no more? That shit not even cool.
What do you mean?
We've been fighting about religion for thousands of years. That's been the main point of discourse. Religion.
Well, I also remember even during like Bush's thing, a lot of like the Middle Eastern scare in the country was still based on religion.
We don't
it's
care
still-
about that shit no more.
Oh, as Americans.
Yeah, now it's just
Yeah,
race.
It's just
okay.
race.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and to John's point too, I
Well, say,
remember
there are
when
fighting
Obama
over
was
religion,
running.
but it's just I get it. Not here. I understand what you're saying.
I remember when Obama was running, he was kind of painted as the manifestation of Martin Luther King's dream. And I mean, honestly, that's why I got into it too. When I saw him like win, I was just like, holy crap, like I'm watching like, what I've
History.
learned in the history books manifesting itself finally. And that's how it was marketed. But afterwards,
So if you're
they never
against that, how do you look?
stopped. Yeah. But afterwards, they never stopped knocking on the Republican Party. I remember that because I remember almost like all of Jon Stewart, all of everything else was just like, look at these racists, look at these
Yep.
idiots, look at
Yep.
how like idiotic the South is, and so it does make sense that eventually the Southerners were like, dude, like stop, we're
I
tired of that.
completely
Like
agree.
that's not actually who we are. Like
But what does that?
Just, yeah, that's
I have a
what I
question.
was
What does
saying.
that
It's for
say?
my dad. My dad got annoyed that when they would throw these accusations and these officials wouldn't like defend themselves because when they would defend themselves, then suddenly like that's affirming now what their accusations. Like no, like you just I don't know.
What does that say to the American psyche that, regardless of how you look at it, a black president, we couldn't technically handle the reverberations of it. Like just naturally, just congratulations, black guy did it, and move on. Like socially, we couldn't handle even the media manipulation. Literally, we couldn't even handle that. And I know it sounds bad to say like, oh, like it's not. I'm not trying to minimize the media's involvement, but I'm saying like we're supposed to be adults. If I can see it, I feel like most people can see media manipulation or propaganda. So what does that say about the like average American that we were so easily swayed into such a racial, like they took us from religion to race so smooth. So smooth. And this is where like if you want to get into conspiracy theories, fuck QAnon and fuck drinking blood and all that shit. What if you like they think that politicians are drinking babies' children's blood and all that shit? What if
that's fucking weird.
What if the actual conspiracy is just affect what we fight about? And they knew just knowing ebb and flow. We put this black guy in office, bro. Even if Obama's in on it, we put these black guy in office, bro. They're gonna crack about next issue. This religious thing is wearing dry. Let's goddamn throw some goddamn black in there. See what happened. And now we have more confusion. Another 50 years of confusion coming by so they can control or continue doing whatever the fuck they're doing. But it just makes sense to me. We couldn't handle it.
I feel like
I'll try to spin that on a positive way. I do agree that we do have a lot more confusion. We're definitely in that point. I think that through COVID though, race has been thrown at the front. And like me personally, I think the core pillar of the country, or two core pillars of the country, are money and race at this point. And I think now we've come to see like race is a big deal, and it's something that if our country is going to move forward and stay intact, we have to tackle head on. It's really dirty right now and it's really messy, and I don't know how we're going to do it, but I think it's something that we need to address. I don't think cancel culture is the right way.
Mm-mm.
I also don't think just stepping on each other's toes is the right way. I mean, if I had the answer, I'd be spitting it out. It's just like we're just gonna have to move forward through it and be like, cool. We're just gonna have to aim for unity and go.
And honestly speaking, this is gonna sound simple. I'm trying to simplify things, but if my granddad did something to your granddad and you was yelling at me about it, I'd have a tough time accepting any type of responsibility for it. I'm being dead ass honest with you. I just wouldn't. Like, yeah, dude, I'm sorry.
My granddad was an asshole.
He was a fucking asshole, but I didn't do that to you. Maybe my granddad stole a couple grand from you, right? And now we're all doing okay. I'm sorry. But I didn't steal the money. So like it's just tough. Like I agree with him. It's a conversation, honestly speaking. If all this shit just never happened, it'd be so interesting to see.
What shit never happened?
Like slavery and just like not just slavery, but
The evils
just,
of the world?
Yeah. If they never happened, because we're at a point now where we could actually benefit off of those things never happening. We, right now, if those things never happened, could be the closest we've ever been to a utopian society. Whereas everybody interacting, low crime, low this, low that, if those things just never happened.
So
if everybody stayed in their countries and developed at their rate, pace, and finally came together when everybody was more civilized and not imperialistic in any type of nature, it'd be interesting to see where the world was if we all were just cooperating for the past 100 years.
I mean, that would go against a lot of people's innate competitive nature.
We could compete. There would still be wars. That's cool. But I'd rather it be a war because of politics. Like, that's just politics. I'm talking about, like, race ever being an issue is such an annoying, and it's annoying because it's just.
I think with that, for us, I feel like that point of view is kind of, and I hate using this word, I gotta think of a better word to use, but like privilege, because we grew up in an age where like you and I could be best friends. Like I'm mixed, I'm Irish and Mexican, you know, you're African, Nigerian, and then I know Doc who's Mexican from the valley. Like we grew up exposed to like another
So
buddy of
many
ours,
things.
Asian, forgot what specific type, forgive me.
Mhm.
But like so many different type of races. So we were exposed to it and we like kind of had
I agree with you, and I agree with you so much that I think
it's
that
just new.
I-
All this is new.
I think as people, we actually don't understand how fully emotions and I don't feel like we understand how the trickle down effect of either emotional connections or disconnections, if you will, between us racially. Like for example, when you're racist, right? You feel superior, blah 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 blah. Fuck whatever color
The
you're
whole
racist
superior
against.
complex
But
thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
racist is racism, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But the things that you don't know that come with that racism, there are a lot of small things in your personality that come with that thing, being racist. That come with like maybe you might be short tempered, you might be like there's small little nuances that come with it, and so like there's nuances that come with growing up and not being racist. You know what I'm saying? There's certain temperaments you learn. There's certain situational things that you develop, and so like being black at one point became a stigma as a consequence of racism.
Mm-hmm.
And so even if the racism may fade because the black part of because being black is a stigma is the secondary part of the racism, it would take the racism fading first before the stigma could then leave. completely if it were in a dream world. You know what I'm saying? So we never actually talk or think about, like, for example, when you know you're not supposed to get jealous of something, but you're jealous anyway. That's your body literally reacting to something situationally, and you know it's wrong. Either you don't have a right to be jealous of this person. They worked for what they earned, or she's not your girlfriend. Whatever it is.
So you're saying everyone has a little bit of racism in
No,
them, and
I'm
they
saying
have to
there's
work it out or something?
No, I'm not saying everybody has a little racism in them. I'm saying when you introduce it, racism isn't just racism, as in you're just a racist and that's all of the emotion or the anger behind racism. There's so many other nuances and emotions that come with being a racist that we don't discuss, that somebody who isn't racist could still have those other nuances because of how emotionally human beings are just built.
Yeah, I got you.
And so I just don't think we actually like delve into those type of things where those are actually more peaceful conversations to have rather than you're just racist.
Like that
Yeah,
one.
that's interesting because I mean, have you ever seen somebody who's trying not to be a racist and offend somebody that's of a different race?
Yeah. And you know
like,
they're not trying.
Yeah.
And the person still gets mad.
Like they'll offer something and they'll be like, "Dude, why are you offering me that? I'm Mexican. I don't eat that." Like, and it's just like, "Oh, okay." Like,
thought you were hungry.
Yeah, like it just sometimes I see it and it's just such a weird eggshell thing to walk. I don't know, man. I also think that there needs to be a sense of comfort to be able to freely just kind of walk through your nation and be like,
Exactly.
hey, there's all kinds of people here and I don't feel stressed about it. But to feel stressed, it makes you tense. But like, I can't say these words. I can't do this. I can't look at this. I can't do like X, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's tough.
It is tough. I completely agree. I just think it's interesting that there's emotions you can feel and know they're wrong and still fucking feel them.
So I guess, do you guys not think America is getting better about that? Despite what's obviously going on right now, I would argue, even though race is being heavily thrown down our throats, do you actually think race is as big of an issue as they're portraying it to be?
I think it is as big as an issue as they're portraying it to be because they're portraying it to be such. So it's like a
like we're panicking.
Yeah. So it's like we made it big. So now if you weren't aware of it, now you're more cognizant of you're more cognizant of the nuances, right? And now the nuances just lead you to believe that everybody's fucking racist.
That actually brings me to a topic I kind of want to talk about that I saw today. And it kind of goes with what we're talking about with this whole, what you're even talking about, reference to John Loki, innate racism. I sent myself a video. How do I go to messages?
Because like, for example,
navigating Twitter.
I can say this. All racists are assholes.
So,
but all assholes aren't racist.
There's this TikTok where this girl's talking about how pretty much how white girls fetishize black men. And then she replies to a here. This girl is white. Here, Doc. This girl is white.
But I want to tell you something. That's
Why is she
probably the dumbest thing I've said all podcast? Dick did that to that girl.
And that's why this girl goes on the rant. Like, you didn't say anything about his
Dick did that to her.
good things about the black man. You just talk about the sexual, what he can do to pleasure you.
Oh, that's what she said?
This after she goes through her little sexy hell, then she's here and says, snow roaches.
You know what's interesting about that? I was talking to a girl recently, and have you noticed all gay white guys act like black women?
I don't know, really?
They don't act like girl, da 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 da, yeah, but it's not maybe dress. They can dress. They can do whatever they
They have
want.
their own style.
But their attitudes are the stereotypical saucy black. It's attributed to black. And when I was told, it was told to me by a white girl. First off, when she said it, I was like, man. And I started thinking really, really hard. And it's like, dude, the snappy comebacks, they could all work at DMVs. There could be a black lady at the DMV or a gay white guy at the DMV, and you would not know the difference in a cartoon or in a TV show.
If it was just the voice.
I mean, honestly, yeah, I kind of agree. As an established stereotype, like a lot of gay guys act like black women. My rebuttal, though, the exception to that is Tiger King.
Yeah.
This guy.
That's a gay white guy.
Yeah. Facts.
Well, this is why I brought up that video, because I was just showing how, like, that girl doesn't even know it, but I would argue she's low-key racist.
Oh, the black girl?
The white girl.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh,
both
yeah,
are.
for sure, dude. She's literally objectifying black men as, like, stallions to have sex with.
Or, like,
In
that's
a
why I
stable.
Well, that's why I also tried to show you the video of her, because even
I'll
her
tell you-
style, like, she
I'll
tried
ask
to be
you
a
this.
black girl.
I'll ask you this. So this is what's so interesting, right? When I'm talking about the nuances of racism.
Yeah.
And then let's take
That's
racism
why I
out
brought
of
it
it,
up,
right?
the
This is so
nuances
interesting
of it,
now,
right?
So let's take racism out of it, right? And just leave the nuances part.
Okay.
Okay? Do you ever see any porn section of black men having white men fuck their wife?
Wait, what?
Have y'all ever seen that?
What?
No, I don't.
No.
No.
Have y'all ever seen a white man have a black man fuck his wife
No.
on porn?
Have I seen it, or
No,
have I
they're
seen,
like,
like...
have you seen like the thumbnails, whatever?
No,
on porn?
honestly, no.
That is a.
I have
big-
actually seen that. Like
a
that.
cuckold.
Yeah.
The cuckold.
I know
section?
a cuckolding, but
No,
no.
I'm
Yeah.
not.
It's normally a white man with a white wife and a black man fucking his wife. Now, if you typed in the ratio, I'm pretty sure you'd probably find one video or two videos of a white guy fucking a black man's wife. But it's probably like 1,000,000 to 1. It's bad. It's bad. So now, why does that exist in that number? If somebody tells me that's not a nuance of anything we had going on, you're fucking tripping. But it's true. And I don't think we've ever thought of that connection. Why? I know it's
Same can be
a
said
random
about
ass
Asian
connection.
women also, probably, too.
But why? Why do you want black men to fuck your wives? And why do they want us to fuck them? And why are we just okay with fucking our own wives? If you see black guys sharing their wives, it's with another black guy.
That's just the whole concept of sharing your wife is weird. I don't
It's
know.
I'm obviously, but I'm saying something that they can't control that desire. Whatever lust, whatever part of the lust that is, the nuance of lust that is,
Yeah.
they cannot control it. Now, it's specific to race, though.
Yeah, it is. The more you explain it, I'm just like, yeah, that's racist.
It's specific to race. Negative or positive, it's specific to race. So those people wouldn't say they're racist. But there's a nuance of racism or whatever stigma, bad, good, whatever, that is traced in them, and that comes out in that desire. That's the manifestation of whatever nuance they have, whatever they grew up with, whatever it is. That's that. So that's a much more interesting conversation for me to have. Not the sex, obviously, but like the nuances and what those ripples are. Fuck the racism. Actual racists are boring and fun. Well, not boring. They're simple but funny, because it's just really you're just that blatantly racist.
You
now.
actually exist out here.
You know what I'm
trying
saying?
to-
So it's like, wow, I just seen a white person just, hey, you nigger, da. That's like, really? Come on, that's disgusting. There's nobody who's gonna watch that and say that's cool.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Other than a racist.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So like, it's those ripples we actually have to discuss. And those are the actual things we have to deal with in our own communities and outside our own communities, because we have those stereotypes ourselves. Like, honestly speaking, bro, middle of the night, black guy in the hood, I might go to the other side if I ain't got that thing on me. If it's a white guy, I might keep it pushing on the same side of the street. Not because I trust him no more than the black guy. But in my mind, I'm gonna beat the shit out this man if he try me. I'm not even thinking of the possibility he may have a gun. He might da. That guy, I'm thinking, yo, man, he might be looking for something. So it's just a difference. And I've grown up around black people. I've grown up around different people, but I still have that, and that's a nuance of it. So it's just interesting.
So do you think we should pass judgment on it though? Because that's actually like something
I don't think we
read
should
about
pass
where
judgment on it. I think we should just discuss it.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem is because we're trying to pass judgment on it instead of
Exactly.
discussing it.
a lot of people are
Exactly.
doing yes, that's wrong, that's right. That we're starting to write policies, social contracts of what's right and what's wrong, and then if you're wrong, you're canceled and stuff like that. But like to John's point, like some people just have it ingrained as just an unconscious, bias, and sometimes you just kind of got to leave it to what it is. Like it's there, acknowledge it, but you really can't say if it's
I'm
good
trying to
or
tell you.
bad. Like they're
Go
not
to a
probably
strip
gonna.
club at 1:00 in the afternoon on a Friday. You'll see 70 and 60-year-old white men spending whatever pension money they got paid that week on big booty black hoes. Seen it with my own eyes, baffled, in tears. I mean, they shaking. They shaking more than the stripper throwing the ones. They trying to take them to the corner.
Break their lap.
The girls, the guys, they coming in their pants
Oh my
just from
gosh.
excitement. This is real. So it's like, bro, but then you could leave out there and then a black person cut you off in traffic and you letting that doorbell ring. It's crazy, dog. It's just, there's so many dynamics. So I just hate when people just blatantly, oh, you're racist. This is racist. That's racist. That's racist. That's a stupid conversation to have. It's stupid. Stop calling people racist.
That was a weird tangent. We kind of went on a little
Yeah,
bit.
it is. But I feel like we
I
came
thought
up
it
with
was
some
interesting,
answers.
No,
though,
it
man.
definitely was.
Yeah.
No. Don't get me wrong. I'm
In a weird
sorry.
way, it kind of makes the U.S. a little bit cooler, man, because that means like there's just weird things of races mixing that you come across that you'd be like, you're into that or you're not into that? Like, oh, okay, I didn't know that existed. Like,
It's the
what?
it's the place where I would argue you actually get to be yourself, but what comes with that is other people get to be themselves.
Yeah, and then you just clash.
And then
Yeah.
another interesting thing is, right? So also think about this. America is so influential that how we view somebody can be I forgot the word, but basically broadcast throughout the whole world, and they'll take that as for face value. Think about how Japan views black people, how they do black characters, how they do. They don't hate black people at all, but they are so amazed by the culture. Even in Japanese culture,
Entranced, yeah.
even in Japanese culture, they have the same type of category, and it's not with American white men, Gene.
It's with American black men.
It's with American black men. And that's just perpetuated by what they see other people perpetuating. Plain and simple. So they when even in China, I have black friends who've been to China and they're like, dude, I've been stopped in the street. They're like, can I take a picture of you? Can I touch your hair? Like, you're so tall. Like, dude, like the craziest experience. And it's not bad. They're just taking it all in because, like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that's perpetuated to me all the time. See it in anime, see it in this and this. Now I'm looking at you. Wow. So it's all over the world. I just think it's a more interesting conversation to have, like I said. Sorry about the little tangent.
I guess let's finish up on forgotten Bitcoin passwords.
Okay, so I was wrong about the number. Apparently, so this is why I was laughing earlier when Doc was talking. I wasn't trying to be rude. So I was reading the New York Times article, and so the forgotten Bitcoin passwords worth an estimated 140 billion.
140? That's
Bitcoin
way worse than what
owners
you said
are
earlier.
getting rich because the cryptocurrency has soared, but an estimated 140 billion, around 20% of the existing 18.5 billion, trillion or whatever, appears to be lost in otherwise stranded wallets. And then so look at this picture, right, of the guy. So I seen that picture first, and I never really like read up on it. Can you see the picture? You see him?
Yeah, it's just like a sad white guy looking
Yeah.
up from the
So
distance.
I was like, yo,
fuck,
they
I'm
just
out
put.
100
I was like, oh, they
mil.
just put some right. So I thought that was hilarious, and then I read the first tweet under it. Stephen Thomas has 2 guesses left to figure out a password that is worth about $220 million.
Oh,
He is one of the
gosh.
many people who are locked out of their Bitcoin. funds.
Bro, that guy's.
No.
He
I
has
don't
2
pity him.
guesses left.
No. Oh.
Could you imagine? I hope that's him
That
on
man
that
is going
front bench.
insane. That man is going insane. You
Oh
walk into
my
his fucking
God.
apartment, and there's just numbers written on the walls where he's just he sits. Oh
He's like
no.
200.
There's got to be a way to recover those
No, they have
accounts,
to do
dude. There's
better.
got to be a
They
way.
have
There's
to
They
do
no-
lock
better.
him up, bro. They
That's
lock
it.
him up. I got a book, man. I read that shit. They lock that thing is locked
It's
up. That's
gone.
why it's such a big deal, man.
I've lost.
It-
I'm gonna be honest with you.
You got a
In
Bitcoin doc?
2013,
Oh, I don't have a Bitcoin. No,
in
I have a book on it.
2013, I bought a whole bit, and it was $273. In 2018, it peaked out and sold for $20K at the top, and now it's somewhere around 36 or some crazy number now. But that's when it really jumped because it went from 200. It stabilized around $600, $700. I was still buying them, but I had lost my original wallet.
Mm-hmm.
There's 140K somewhere.
Damn, dude, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, they seal off, bro. Like
There's a whole bit.
Some people have tried making banks and stuff like that are like backdoor accessible so that you can get to them.
Mm-hmm.
But that defeats the purpose of the Bitcoin. The
whole-
whole purpose is
defeat the
that
whole
nobody can
purpose.
get to it except for you. And there's only a set number that will ever be created in existence, and that's what gives it its value. And that's why they trade it. And that's why the government can't like regulate it and all that stuff like that.
100% correct. So that shit, I will always remember that. So and I bought a whole bit, team.
Nice.
Because he was able to buy weed with bits back in the day. And get it shipped. So
Dude, one of the guys in the book I'm referencing, he used to buy pizza with it. He would order pizzas with a Bitcoin when it was like dirt cheap.
mhm.
And then now he went back and he did the math of what it's currently worth and how many people he got like 20 pizzas or something like that. And then he was like, dude, that was like $6 million.
No,
Like,
yeah,
if I just
easily.
held on to the Bitcoin instead of getting pizza like 5
Easily.
times.
In weed, I've probably spent $1 million now in current on bit. I'd much rather have that $1 million.
Yeah, I wish I invested.
It's just so
Remember, I used to
scary
talk to you
though,
about it.
dude.
Everyone who has Bitcoin right now is probably just like, yeah.
I used to talk to you about it.
Yeah, I remember.
It's just
I
so
remember.
scary though, man. It's so
You even
volatile.
told me to
like one
invest.
day it's worth a bunch of money, and one day it's not, and some days it just goes back up. To
It fluctuates. Yep. But the key, I think, honestly speaking, is treating Bitcoin like a 401k.
Oh,
So instead of like investing large lump sums, what I do is I have a keep the change thing, but I transfer that keep the change into Bit. And so I'm up to like I think $400 or $500, and that's within maybe a week or two. And it fluctuated a lot this past couple weeks. So like when I finally checked it, it was at like $500, but in cash value, I probably only put like $100 in there. So I think that's the best way to just hope you know what I'm saying? They invest it properly, and goddamn, ride the wave.
probably should watch some other YouTube videos on this, but I wonder if it's too late to get into Bitcoin.
No, it's not too late. There's a fluctuation. Every time it goes
Yeah.
down, there's a mass fluctuation into it. But there's other cryptocurrencies like Litecoin, which it's not a little bit more stable, I wouldn't say, but it follows the Bitcoin trajectory pretty much. I remember when
Yeah,
Litecoin first
it
came,
does a
it was
lot.
$15, $13 a coin.
So with Bitcoin, it it's actually like just the most famous one.
Mm-hmm.
But now that there's so many different
There's
versions of it,
so
and there's
many.
new features and stuff like that, like smart contracts is crazy. So smart contract is you can literally program the money to do something for you. So let's say me and John bet on like a Bengals versus Rams game,
Mm-hmm.
and we write into the smart contract that the moment that the Bengals win, John wins the pool.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as the game ends, the computer searches Google, sees who won, sends it to John. I cannot do anything. I cannot stop that money from transferring. So I can
I was
never
about
be
to
like,
say.
nah, I'm not gonna give it to you. They cheated. Nah,
I was about
it's
to say.
instantly in his bank.
The one of the original uses of Bitcoin was to gamble,
Yeah.
literally, because gambling is illegal in most states.
That's how they
And the
get
crazy
around
thing
it.
too is you can't counterfeit it either, man. Because what they do is they create a particular charge of electricity, and that is the currency.
Oh,
And
really?
you can't recreate that. Like well, the newer ones, like the newer altcoins and stuff like that, like you can't replicate a duplicate of this particular charge of electricity, the joule. It's literally just like its own. It's like a snowflake, and then you just have like 150 million of them, and then you just give them away. So there's no possible way of counterfeiting.
You know, a scary thing that's happening. So I won't give their location. There's a farmer's market I went to, right? And I seen their forms of method of payment, and they had cash, Visa, MasterCard. And then they had, I forgot the name of it, so I don't want to look it up. But they had actual Chinese Bitcoin.
Really?
And that's not taxable in America. So China would actually be getting taxes on their business here.
And that's an
That's
issue.
scary.
Yeah.
That's very scary. So then now we'd have to really reconsider like taxes and how business models, like international models, how we do tariffs,
Mm-hmm.
like if the business can operate. That's just
Well, that's a whole nother topic. We're
Yeah.
already at like an hour.
yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
I was like the whole government wants to. If you were to introduce Bitcoin, you'd have to flip the entire economy upside down and rebuild it from the ground up and stuff like that. And it's gonna be the future. I think that form of currency of the like electrical like independent thing is going to be the future of money, but we'll see how it gets there.
All right, guys. I think that's enough fake deep thinking for today. Make sure you follow our Twitter at podcastfdt. Follow our YouTube page, Fake Deep Thinking. I got the first wave of clips up for from episode 24, so make sure you go check them out. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. See you next time on Fake Deep Thinking. Peace.
Peace.
Peace out.